You probably have seen a number of stories where they talk about how the Postal Service is lost nearly $20 billion over the last 4 years. Well, that sounds terrible. I see that the government can't run anything. And that in the next month, they might not be able to make a $5.5 billion mandated payment. You see that? They're bankrupt. Government, terrible. See, they don't know how to run anything. We should privatize it. Well, that is until you find out the real story. The real story is that in 2006, the Republicans passed this thing called a Postal Accountability and Enhancement Act of 2006. What did that do? That mandated that the Postal Service follow a rule that no other governmental organization and no other private organization follows. What was it? That they had to pay into the pension of their workers for the next 75 years within a 10-year time frame. So they now have to pay, over the last 4 years, they had to pay into pensions of people they haven't even hired yet. 75-year window frame. That's crazy. Of course, that means that they have to take in all the money that they have now and give it for these theoretical retirees that they're going to hire later. Well, if you do that, no private business can sustain that, and no governmental organization can sustain that. According to the numbers, they have overpaid the pension to the federal government of at least $6.9 billion, and they might have overpaid anywhere between $25 to $50 billion into the pension system. Well, that accounts for all the difference. In fact, if you do the math and you take out the overpayment of the Postal Service into the pension systems, do you know that over the last 4 years, the Postal system actually had a $1.5 billion surplus? Now, that's what you never hear in the rest of the media. So this is nothing but an accounting trick that the Republicans did to kill the Postal Service. And right now they are gleeful. They're talking about, hey, you got to at least cut 120,000 jobs. They're like, yes, more government workers we fire. Now, does it make a difference to them that the Postal Service is actually not losing money except for this accounting trick? No, they don't care. That those 120,000 people don't have to get fired, they don't care. And if the unemployment numbers are worse leading into the election, they're like, great, we'll blame it on Obama. It's a win-win for us. But their ultimate goal is to destroy the whole thing. And they are now proposing new legislation saying, no, the Postal Service is a mess. They are these losers in the government-run Postal Service, of course, screwed it up, and hence we should destroy it and privatize it. By the way, they say, oh, of course, UPS and FedEx, they can handle all this. Yeah, I know, they can. If I want to send a package to New York, a letter to New York, what are they going to charge me? About 20 bucks. What's the Postal Service going to charge me? 44 cents. And by the way, you think the Republicans don't know that if you shut down the Postal Service, their friends who give them money from UPS and FedEx are going to get a hell of a lot richer? Of course they know that. And they get more campaign donations. And then finally, the last part of it is that they go out and say, you see that? We proved government doesn't work. It doesn't work because of the laws you passed, which you knew on purpose would destroy the Postal Service. So, look, this isn't academic. One day, if they take down the Postal Service, and you go to send a letter to whoever you're going to send it to, well, okay, 44 cents doesn't apply anymore. Now you got to pay 15 bucks. And then you're going to say, God damn it, who did this? Well, I'll tell you who did it. Republicans did it. But they will ironically use the rest of the media to say the exact opposite. It is maddening. But now you know the truth. Steve.
Also, the UPS and FedEx, they don't deliver everywhere. They only deliver where it's profitable. And then to places where it's not profitable, they make the post office do it. And the post office does it at a loss because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to serve all Americans.
Right. That's a great point. First of all, they don't even take government money. They pay for themselves. That's why they charge you the 44 cents. That's why they charge you all the things that they charge you. So, I mean, it's the exact opposite of what Republicans tell you. Second of all, since they are a government entity, though, they do have to deliver for the American people, literally, 6 days a week to all those places. And what is one of the emergency cuts that they're doing? They're going to close over 3,000 post offices. So, hey, if you used to get mail over there, well, sorry, you're going to have to, if you go longer distance, sometimes, very long distance to find a new post office. Oh, that service is not there for you anymore? Well, the Republicans love it. You have to drive longer, you have to pay more for gas, you have to be more inconvenienced. They love it because they'll ironically turn around and blame the government for that again. So it's the worst of all worlds. Here it is, they take a government system that is working and they destroy it. And last thing on this, look, it doesn't mean that I think that everything at the Postal Service is awesome. That every time I've gone to the Postal Service, that I've gotten awesome service. No, of course not. Look, are some of the lines slow? Yes. Do you have some of the issues with the Postal Service? Yes. But overall, it's been amazing for hundreds of years. For a tiny amount, when I was a kid, what was it, 10 cents or less? Now it's up to 44 cents. You put in a letter, it goes anywhere in the country, 6 days a week. It's worked for hundreds of years until the Republicans passed that bill in 2006.
All right, numbers, Christy. What did you screw this?
Remember.
You screwed this up with
Did
it.
I?
Yeah, come on.
Where is? What? Oh, I gave it a 6.
You janked it down.